B-March Boxing, what's happening, world? Back at it with another boxing video. So, Manny Pacquiao wants $40 million to face the man, Terrence Crawford, Terrence Bud Crawford, current WBO um, welterweight champion. Now, Manny Pacquiao's at an advanced age of 42 years old. Does he deserve that $40 million? Look, man, it's not about whether he deserves it or not. Is he able to even get $40 million to fight a Terrence Crawford? I highly doubt it. You know what I'm saying? Now, Terrence Crawford I don't even know if I doubt Terrence Crawford has even amassed $10 million in one particular fight in his boxing career. You know what I mean? Now, Terrence Crawford is a bad matchup style for Manny Pacquiao. Oh, why you think Pacquiao been avoiding him since 2015? You know what I mean? Since 2015, Pacquiao been avoiding him. We're in 2021. 6 years later, Manny Pacquiao wants that nice payday to ride off into the sunset. But, with COVID going on, since 2020, excuse me, you think Bob Arum's going to shell out $40 million to a former top-ranked employee in Manny Pacquiao to come and beat Terrence Crawford, which I highly doubt would happen. I doubt that Bob Arum would even consider that. It's not even a thought, you know what I mean? So I really hope Manny Pacquiao just calls it quits. He ain't been in the ring since July of 2019 when he beat the man Keith Thurman. Very good win, taking the first O off of Keith Thurman, you know what I mean? Beating an undefeated fighter. Manny Pacquiao has fought in almost 24 months. Inactivity at the age of 42 is a recipe for disaster. Manny Pacquiao best do what's best for himself and just call it quits, man. It's a wrap, you know what I mean? If he wants to do exhibition fights, that's all well and fine. But fighting top tier fighters, pound for pound best in the world, don't do it, Slim. You've been avoiding him since 2015. We already know Terrence Crawford is going to be a handful for Manny Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Taller, rangier fighter, a guy who switches stances, a guy who can box, a guy who can brawl, could slug it out. You know what I mean? This is just a bad matchup style for the man Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Hence why he's avoided him all these years. Now, no shame in Manny Pacquiao's game. He has a Hall of Fame legendary career, and $40 million would be excellent for him just to ride off into the sunset. And I guarantee you this: if he get that $40 million, win, lose, or draw, he ain't gonna fight again. You know what I mean? Maybe if he gets a draw, they can be guaranteed the same kind of payday. He'll probably consider. But I really think it's not happening. You know what I mean? It's a fallacy. Manny Pacquiao getting $40 million from Bob Arum. That's not happening, dogs. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who's going to put up $40 million for Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford to get it in. I don't think Terrence Crawford has even amassed $10 million in one fight in his career. Now, Manny Pacquiao should look at a legendary American fighter in the lower weights, Michael Carbajal. Michael Carbajal was a very good fighter, of course. He's in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? He was the first little man to amass $1 million at the flyweight divisions. You know what I mean? Or light flyweight. Now, Michael Carbajal was slipping and sliding, losing the guys that he shouldn't be losing to. You know what I'm saying? He had was it a trilogy with what's the guy's name? Humberto Gonzalez. You know what I'm saying? Was it a trilogy or they fought two times? A couple times, right? Then he lost to guys he shouldn't even be losing to. You know what I mean? But of course, he lost to guy like Baby Jake Matalala. But no shame in his game. Baby Jake was a very good fighter. But Michael Carbajal had a very big upset in the last fight of his career when he beat a young Jorge Arce, just like Manny Pacquiao beat a younger what's his name, Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? Similar type of victory. But guess what? Michael Carbajal rode off into the sunset, called it quits. Hall of Fame career, got himself a world title on his way out, especially after being past his prime. You know what I mean? and we're not really considered at the time a top, what you call it, a top light flyweight. Manny Pacquiao's in the same position. You know what I mean? If I was Manny Pacquiao, I'd forget about it, man. 20, almost 24 months out the ring, 42 years old. Dogs, it's a recipe for disaster, man. You gonna get hurt in this game. Might get left on the canvas like Juan Manuel Marquez left him in the fourth fight. I personally don't want to see that. I don't like to see old man getting knocked out. You think I like seeing Roy Jones getting put to sleep by Enzo Martinelli? That shit wasn't cute, man. I mean, and that's the boxing game. Sometimes fighters stay a little too long, longer than they're supposed to. And I believe Manny Pacquiao barking up the wrong tree, fucking with the man Terence Crawford, even fuck with Errol Spence, any of these prime welterweights. You know what I mean? If he gets $40 million to fight him, hey, who am I to tell the man Manny Pacquiao to not take $40 million? Now he's going to have to consider his health and his wealth. He's going to have to put it in the balance and actually consider which is more important at the time. You know what I mean? And if he concludes with his family, hey, let me take this $40 million and this will be my last fight, so be it. But I highly doubt he gets $40 million to fight any of these guys in boxing. There's nobody he can fight right about now to get $40 million. You check it. It's not happening, you know what I mean? So Manny Pacquiao, my best advice to him, just call it a wrap, big man. Just, you know, gracefully bow out. You got yourself a world title on your last fight in 2019. A lot of people thought Keith Thurman would have beat Pacquiao. I personally didn't see it. There was nothing in this guy's career that made me think he could beat a Manny Pacquiao, especially considering his last fights before the Manny Pacquiao fight, whether it was with Riverside Rocky. What's his name? Riverside Rocky. What the fuck is his name? Y'all know who I'm talking about, man. Man who fought guys like Maidana and Virgil Ortiz and Canelo. Not Virgil Ortiz. Um, the guy who fought Floyd and headbutted him. Then Floyd knocked him out with a two-piece. You know what I'm saying? When Keith Thurman was running around the ring like a chicken with his head cut off from that body shot from Louis Collazo. He'd been hurt in previous fights, many fights. He'd been hurt by guys like what's that guy's Soto Carras. So there was nothing that showed me that the man Keith Thurman could beat a Manny Pacquiao. I don't care how old Manny Pacquiao was at the time. And a lot of people thought the same, that Keith Thurman could beat the man, and obviously that's not what happened. Manny Pacquiao, look, it was not, and it wasn't a cakewalk for Pacquiao. Don't get it twisted. It was a difficult fight. Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion, got hit more than I've ever seen him get hit before. But that's neither here nor there. He won the fight clearly, you know what I'm saying? And I think he should have just ride off into the sunset after that W. So Manny Pacquiao, man, forget about it, man. You ain't getting 40 millions to fight Manny Terence Crawford. Manny Pacquiao versus guys like what's the guy's name? Mikey Garcia. That's a better fight because I think if you've looked at, I've been watching Mikey Garcia since day one of his career. He's been a cherry picker. If you don't know that by now, 2021, then you need to open your eyes, wipe your lenses off your spectacles, and just go look at his career and look at how the type of fighters he fought in order to become a, what is he, a champion at what, 126, 130, 135, 140. Look, he ain't fight the best of the best at 140. He don't want no smoke with nobody at 147 like the Terence Crawfords. Even when Terence Crawford was at 140, you know what I mean? He decided to come up and fight Limpinets at 140 when Terence Crawford was out the division. Limpinets lost the fight, but he put some hands on the man Mikey Garcia. He busted his nose up too. All right, at 100 and what 35, he fought the Dejan Zlatikins of the world. You know what I mean? And he ain't fight no Lomachenko. To me, he ducked Lomachenko to fight. You know what I mean? He fought Robert Easter. Had two straps. Lomachenko had two straps. Let's do this fight for undisputed. He ain't want to do that. At 120, at 130 pounds, he beat who did he beat? He beat Roman Martinez. You know what I mean? He ain't fight the best. So Mikey Garcia was cherry picking his whole career. That's why I know Manny Pacquiao would beat him today at 42 years old. I don't care what nobody says. So a fight like that, sure. But Terrence Crawford, leave that man alone. I'm saying, leave that man alone. I mean, don't you ain't gotta fight those type of guys. Your legacy cemented already. Just gracefully bow out, get the F up out the game, and go ahead and try to become a president. I bet you can make more money in the Philippines, a third world country, make more money than you'll ever make in boxing. So that's what I think Manny Pacquiao should focus on. Politics. Not politics of the boxing game, but politics from his country, Philippines. Be Marsh Boxing, leave your thoughts and comments. Let me know what y'all think about this vid, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one. I'm gone. Ghost.